Okay, thank you for being here today. Today we're going to discuss the writing proficiency instructional strategies chart and how our students have been growing on their writing compositions. So first of all, I would like to know what strength did you notice that the students are having this last assessment and what are their weaknesses?
I did notice that my kids were improving on their transitions. That was something that each time we've had one of these tests, they just really got like 0 points on, or maybe a couple of them got, the 1. So that's been an area of strength for my kiddos. What about you?
Their leads have improved. Did you bring your writing?
I did, it's right here.
You had a 4.
Yes.
Is she writing expository?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with you about the transitions. I think still need to work on elaboration and craft.
So one of the weaknesses is elaboration
Uh-huh.
and the craft. And our strengths are transition
Leads.
and leads.
I think the conclusion too, my kids are doing
Is a
better.
strength?
Uh-huh.
Strength and conclusion.
I think we also, I would say weakness maybe organization.
Yes. That was actually one of the parts where my students had a strength. And I wanted to share with you what we've been doing to help them with that organization. So to plan to fill the gaps, what have you think? I was, for example, for my students, I was looking into their revising and editing test, and I analyzed the tics that they were, where there were weaknesses, and I noticed that they were repeated a lot of the tics. For example, 4.15 was about grammar, and I started addressing that using the writing stars. And the other weakness was the complete sentences or compound sentences, which we have talked about that.
The combining and when to use a comma.
Exactly, when to use a comma, when to use the conjunctions, the fanboys, and all of that. So all of this week, and I'm assuming I will continue to do that up to the rest of the school year. That's definitely something that they need to master, especially when 8 out of 15 questions has to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely would like to hear from you because your scores jumped quite a bit.
What I did is I started treating the students as when I went to school, but university kind, because I never used rubrics when I was in high school or in elementary. But when we go to the university, they give us the rubrics, and what we strive for is in that rubric. If you want your grade to be this is what you have to do. If you had your grade to be this is what you have to do. So it took me a long time to translate the rubric for Spanish. You had that already. So what I've been doing is teaching the kids to use the rubric. So instead of giving them the checklist that Lucy Culkin give us, I give them the rubric.
Okay.
And I say, you have to strive to be on the last column, which is 5th grade. So what do you need to do to get to that
So like how
to
did
that score?
So like how did you tell them, because like overall for grade 5 was the writer used different kinds of information to teach about the subject. Sometimes he included little essay stories or how-to sections in his writing.
Yes.
So how did they do that?
That is an excellent example. For example, Amber, she took on, when we were doing informational reading, she got very interested about Walt Disney.
Okay.
So she had some books from the library from Walt Disney. And she went home and she watched the movie Walt Disney. So she was able to give quotes. She was able to have a lot of information. And also in the columns here where it's ×2, for example, in craft, the writer may deliver word choices to have an effect on his readers. He used the vocabulary of experts. When I look at Amber's, which was my only 4, although her spelling is not, some words could be a little misspelled,
Sure.
her craft is really good.
So she was able to write a 4 in 45 minutes?
Well, when they wrote this, I wasn't here. No, those were the 3 days that I wasn't here. I'm not sure how long they did it.
I think it was time, because I talked to
Yes, to
I talked to
Mr.
who was
Castellon.
doing it.
Yes. Yes, for example, at the very end, she's saying what the wife, Walt Disney's wife says, so she put it in quotation marks.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So I saying that he had the idea about the mice, so Miss Disney said, how about Mickey Mouse? And she put in quotation marks. Walt dijo, perfecto, hicieron las animaciones. And he said, excellent, let's do the animations.
Oh,
And
So they
then
basically.
finally, and at the end she concluded, finally, so you can ask yourself, should I be giving up? And she did a question. No, never give up, follow your dreams.
Yeah,
Wow,
that
that's
sounds
really
good.
good.
Yes, yeah, but she took the interest, so she was interested in something. And I remember at the beginning of the school year, I was probably just talking to you about the information on writing, and I just tried, I give sometimes the kids 10
So
books.
they had an organizer that I saw on the back. Was that the one you were making the other day?
Yes, that's exactly. I created this graphic organizer. This is not, I think I sent it to you. I sent it to,
No.
so I thought that this would be helpful to help them break them into paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
That way they know that they have to skip a line. So the skipping line is right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't know. I mean, they had to create their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is just something I created when we were planning together. I was working
Oh,
on
yeah.
this. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember.
no, it's a great tool.
Yes, because when I was studying the rubric, I was seeing that they talk about topics. And did they stay in a topic? And I was thinking, how am I going to have them stay in one topic?
Right.
So I figure out, okay, let's put each section, but then on the top I put that's topic 1, that's topic 2, that's
Yeah.
topic 3.
Well, and it looks like the boxes and bullets that we're
Yes.
supposed to be using, so, yeah.
Yes.
that looks good.
The difference between that and the boxes and bullets is that this is 5 paragraphs and the boxes and bullets is in 3?
Well, we're doing 4.
4, okay.
And just one thing that you might want to consider, I know Lucy Calkins does the 5 because they don't have a 26 line, you know,
For
you can
star.
go, yeah, for star. So we've been told in the past, do a 3 or a 4. That if you do a 5, they'll take off points because they'll say, hey, how could you really elaborate,
You
in
don't have
26
enough room.
lines. So you might just start, you've got 3 weeks with your kids, you might kind of start,
Using the line
Well,
paper.
5 times 5, that's 25, right? I'm telling them to write just 5
No.
sentences per paragraph.
Yeah, I mean,
That
they
could
have,
work.
yeah, I mean, they have 27 lines.
26.
26, okay. So I just told mine when we started working on it the other day when we handed them the paper, I said if you're gonna indent, just to use like the very, very end of your thumb, because some of them were using like their whole finger and it was taking up too much room. So, it's,
But
It's
I
a-
like your,
Yeah.
you know, especially if you had a conversation with Heather, I know we're able to give our kids like a boxes and bullets, or we're able to give them a graphic organizer without any
Yes.
words.
Yes.
And probably most of your kids have that accommodation,
About
so-
half of them.
about have to. Okay.
Yes, I'm trying to, something else I have been doing is trying to give them, today they finished one, I'll find it in a minute, from this book.
Yeah,
They have writing prompts, like you have been using as well, writing
Yeah.
prompts. Well, after each unit, they have a writing prompt. On this one is write expository about a place and the needs that people have. The
yeah,
one that have been, they worked today is about a game, a favorite game. Okay, write about a favorite game. So they have been elaborating on the favorite game. And this is, where do I have them? Oh, they're here, okay, so they're here. Let's see, Walter has improved tremendously. So first, we and Ms. Hernandez, we sat with them and make sure that they had the graphic organizer and tell them that doesn't have to be complete sentences.
sure.
Okay, now do the paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5. And make sure they have at least 5 lines.
Yeah.
So they can write more, but at least 5 lines. So it may be excessive. You are experts in 4th grade. This is my first year around. I'm just thinking, they're going to be asked to write in less than an hour, right?
No, they'll
Well,
get,
they'll have more
2
time.
hours?
they'll have 4 hours total.
For just writing the
No,
composition
for
or for the whole,
revising,
the
yeah.
revising, editing and the composition? So I'm trying to get them used to be able to write one whole essay a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
So
good.
that's what they did today.
yeah.
But, well, the graphic organizer, let's say took 2 days, but they finished this.
Well,
in
we're
one
doing
day.
that mock on the 27th, so we'll be
Yes.
able to see what they can do in that 4 hours.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
And we only have 15 days. This is they have expository, they have narrative. So next one, I'm going to make them write is the narrative. Because in this one, I score it following this rubric,
Sure.
but some of them did not. I
Sure.
would say some, I have a few.
But
who
you know the
didn't.
test is gonna be expository.
The
Star
the
test.
STAR test, I believe I do that.
Yeah.
So you're not going back to narrative?
No.
I would go ahead
No
and
way.
stick with
No.
expository.
Stick with
until-
expository.
yeah.
Well, I like expository
Well,
way
because
better.
the problem is the question that they ask can be easily interpreted
Interpreted.
as narrative. And if they have just recently wrote a narrative,
Mhm.
they're going to write, I mean, they're just probably gonna write
Yeah.
a narrative.
So if it's
hard.
explain your favorite place, you're gonna
Yeah.
have some kiddos that if they are not like set on, expository, they're
You
gonna
are
turn
so
around
right.
and tell a story about. But that's great that you guys are shooting
Yeah.
for an essay a day, cause
Yeah.
that's gonna
I wish
definitely.
we had that much
help your
time.
kids.
It does take a lot of time.
Yeah,
And, but I'm thinking it's paying off, what I'm seeing today, and when I got
Yeah.
very firm with them, only 2 didn't finish, which is expected, there are some
Yeah.
students that are going to take it lower, but from
Yeah.
16, 14 finish, yes, that was a little success there.
yeah,
And also to fill the gaps, I was thinking about using these books,
mhm,
again, going back to the revising and editing, about how to spell, because that was a problem.
Now,
And-
they won't count off, as long as they can understand the spelling, they don't
Yes.
count off.
That's why I didn't count off Amber, that she
Okay.
has some misspelling. But in the correction or revision part of it, they do need to know that.
yeah,
Mhm,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. And anything else that you would like to add? I found this great book, I don't know if you have used it, on onomatopoeia, which is also an expository test.
Yeah.
And it has the good paragraphs to model what they
Yeah.
need to be writing about.
Yeah, and a lot of my kids are doing that with their grabbers, starting off with like, what did we write about this past week? We wrote about a favorite person. Okay, so one of my kids wrote about his grandma, and one thing they do a lot is swimming together. So he started his off with splash,
Mhm.
so,
Yes.
yeah.
That is something that the children
Mhm.
know what an onomatopoeia is, but in my class, they're not using it as much.
Sure.
So I thought it was
Well-
appropriate to bring something to remind me,
Uh-huh.
okay,
Yeah.
this is an onomatopoeia, remember what it was? Yes, everybody was making sounds around, well, start using it in your writing, because you haven't been doing so.
I remember when I was teaching their dual language with the reading, that figurative language was very hard for them to understand. Like I spent a lot of time on figurative language.
And idioms and stuff.
So, yeah, some.
Oh, idioms is weird,
Yeah.
yeah.
So idioms, figurative language.
Yeah, if you can get kids to throw a simile in there somewhere, it
Mhm.
seems like that.
I have been doing similes and metaphors each time I'm reading. Each time
Yeah.
I run into one, okay, let's
Yeah.
write it down, and I have a little chart for
That's
seniors.
good.
And that has helped, but
Good.
it has been from the reading.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
least 5 or 6 students have run with it.
Mhm.
So any other suggestions? How, we will be updating the data cards with the scores. And maybe we can use the rest of the time to update the data cards and see how they have been moving.
What, those? That's
Yes.
revising and editing.
Oh, those are, they're both good. Okay, so are we gonna do that with the last, did we already do
We already
the
did
last
that.
one? Okay,
Yeah, ours are updated,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot, sorry, I think I was supposed to know.
Alright,
I think so.
Okay, so,
Is it just have two data points?
well, the ones I have here, this is right here, right? Yes, I have threes. This is for, I believe this is for the compositions.
This is revising and editing.
I'm sorry? Yes.
Maybe we updated it. We haven't updated it.
No, we were writing everything. So we did December, we haven't done, so we'll need to do. I think we talked about it, we did reading.
And we need to fill this part out about basically our goals.
Okay.
Just what we discussed, how we're going to update it, right?
I don't think they've changed. You can just copy and
Yeah, so maybe transitions. Almost all of my kids finally were using transitions.
So let's work together also updating the data cards and the strategies that we're going to start using to make them proficient.
Okay, did you do the, add up the totals at the bottom and change your totals at the top?
I did some of them, I had to update mine today because when I was doing my rubrics, I forgot that 2 of the items were times 2.
Oh, okay.
So some of my students actually went up
Wow.
because I forgot about multiplying.
Well, your scores are just off the chart. If they went up from where they were, from where they're on there now.
No, that, I just updated it maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, so we'll work on this, how are they going to show the proficient, how are they going to show that they're above proficient, and then I'll just update this later and send it to you.
Okay.
All right.